Hi, and welcome to Jumpstarting Your Brain. I don't know about you all, but with this pandemic, when it first hit us, worry, 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 what are we going to do? And now that we're through, hopefully, the worst of it, now we have to worry about keeping our brains active and making sure that we just keep ourselves active, our brains humming away, and so I just thought I would talk to you about some things you can do. My name is Kathy Bermejo, and I'm with the Center for Neuroskills. At CNS, we work with individuals with brain injury as we try to remediate their thinking skills, their memory skills, as well as their physical skills and everyday ADLs. So some of the things that just individuals need to do, as well as our patients with brain injury, is get up every morning. Make sure that your routine is what it's always been. Don't just lay around, and some days, yeah, you feel like keeping your PJs on if you're working remotely, but it's really, really important to get up, do that structure that you've always done, take a shower, get dressed, put makeup on. Boys, that's optional, and just keep your daily routine. Another good thing that we need to think about is sleep. Sometimes if we're not going into the office, we tend to maybe stay up a little later or sleep a little later, but we really need to keep those routines as well, because as Dr. Ashley always said, the structure leads to freedom. So we keep that structure, then we feel like it's a normal day. And that's what this is all about, just trying to keep as normal as possible. But as far as some things to do and keep ourselves active, it's really no different than what we did before. If you're a reader, you need to read. If you don't read, maybe listen to books on tape and try to remember what the chapter was before that you were reading. Make sure that you remember characters, etc. Though that's just something that we always do. Don't just stay on your computer when you're not working. Get off the computer, try to multitask. I asked some of my peers around CNS, what did you do when the pandemic was really bad and you were kind of getting into that doldrum? And I had one person tell me that she used to do puzzles while she watches TV, so she stayed away from her phone. She wasn't constantly looking at that phone. So she was doing the puzzles while she was listening, so that's multitasking. I had another coworker tell me that he barbecued and drank beer. So it really depends on what you want to do, but make sure that you do more than one thing. It's really like tasks that you do with your children, that you want to keep them active, you want to keep them engaged. It's the same thing with adults. Some other more specific activities may be write down a sequence of numbers. Start out with 3 numbers, but mix them up, and then close your eyes and try to reorder them from smallest to largest, and go all the way up to 7 or further if you can. Do it for consecutive trials, because this will work on your attention, it'll work on your working memory, and just general memory. You can also do it with somebody telling you the numbers. That actually works better, because then you don't have that visual reference to recall the numbers. You have to do everything auditorily. So have somebody read you those numbers. Play a game with your kids or your husband or your wife and see who can do the most, because that actively engages your brain. I know this sounds kind of cliche, but the games that you play when you're at a wedding shower or a baby shower, where you have a tray of objects and you only look at them for so many minutes or seconds, and then you take them away and you try to remember what was on that tray. Visual memory, these are all good things to keep that brain going. One of the things that I think we don't really pay attention to is our hearing. And there have been studies that have shown when hearing decreases, people become more depressed, and cognitively they start to lose some of their skills because they're not able to hear people, so they decrease their interaction. And the studies are showing that cognitive deficits start to emerge. So it's really important. If you think you might have a hearing problem, go get that checked out. If you're around loud noises, just put on some earphones or some ear protection, because that is something that, as we all grow older, we're going to have to think about. Just any activity that is going to create some memory. One of the things that I wrote down, it's kind of a silly thing, but take all your socks. Have you and your kids and your husband or whatever try to figure out, time yourselves and match every pair of socks, every pair of sock, and see who can do it the fastest. You know, be competitive with your family, because this is a time, I think, when we've all realized family is really important. And we want to stay safe, but we also want to stay active. Some other activities with reading, stop, try to visualize while you're reading what that is that you know, the characters or the place where the story is happening. Same thing with TV. Close your eyes, listen to the characters, and just visualize, because visualization is a very, very important part of memory. It's like when you go to leave the house and you think, did I turn the coffee pot off? You can visually go through that to see whether you have. Now, some routines become so automatic we don't even think about them. That's good. Because they're automatic, we don't have to think about them, and that lets us have the opportunity then to think about things that are a lot harder or more abstract. I know with our brain injury, with our patients with brain injury, that is really, really difficult. So what we have to do is start relearning, retraining those self-care activities of daily living that have become automatic to most of us. So we relearn those, and then we're able to relearn other things, work on more episodic memories. Categorization is a great activity. There are lots of workbooks, but you can come up with these kind of things on your own, where you just come up with a category and you try to think of as many things as you can that are in that category, or make it harder for yourself and think of a letter. Think of a letter and name as many things as possible. Make it even harder. Don't use proper nouns, so no names of people or places, so that you're constantly having to think, and give yourself a time limit. Give yourself a minute and see how many you can do. You can either do it orally or you can do it on paper, and then that way you can go back. Don't repeat yourself though. If you think about not repeating yourself, that's again another activity that is stretching that brain power. Now these are pretty simple everyday tasks, but they don't have to be these huge, difficult exercises to do. These are just daily activities to keep our minds active. If you want something more structured, there are games on the computer, of course, in moderation, but I know I just put in memory games on the computer and I came up with a great free activity from AARP. Yes, it is for older people, but anybody can use it. And there's also Luminosity, and these kind of games start at baseline, and then as you make progress, they improve with you. We recommend this for a lot of our patients, because one of the things that happens after a brain injury, those leisure skills, what do I do with my free time? I really don't know, because many times they can't do the same things that they could before, but we need to help them learn new things. And it's kind of what we're doing right now, finding a new way to keep ourselves active, finding a new way to do things that keep us physically fit, with our family, but safe, because right now safety is what it's all about. And it's the same thing with our patients with brain injury. The S word, as I like to tell patients when I evaluate them, is the most important word. We have to make sure that everybody is safe. Once that happens, once we can keep ourselves safe, then we're free to do other things, as long as we keep that S word in mind. So anything, absolutely anything that you can think of. And I'm sure you're going to be able to think of other things that I haven't thought of or have forgotten to talk about in this presentation. But all is not lost. I mean, we're able to start to get out there now as long as it's safe. And in California, I think we're pretty fortunate with how things are progressing. Get your vaccine. I'm going to be a big proponent of that because with that vaccine, that's kind of that structure leads to freedom. It's the same thing. You get your vaccine, and then things are going to open up for you. So I hope that this has been helpful. I've been working for Center for Neuroskills now for about 34 years, and I learn something new every single day. When I evaluate patients, they teach me, I teach them. So interact with people. Don't keep yourself socially isolated, and it's very easy to do at this point in time. FaceTime, Duo is great, but in order to do that, we need to do that regularly so people can see your faces without a mask, because with a mask, it really inhibits some social communication. We do a lot of things with our mouth and our facial expressions that you can't really see with the mask. Plus, sometimes it makes it hard to hear. So as long as you're safe, use those facial expressions. Make sure your eyes, when you laugh, the laughter goes to your eyes so that people can see it. Because, you know, I walk down the hall and I see people and I smile at them. They don't know whether I'm smiling or not. You know, I sent my kids masks that I made for them, and they took a picture and said, yeah, we're really smiling, because you can't tell. So make sure that that laughter or that smile reaches your eyes so that your whole body shows it, especially with kids. This part of social language is developed early on, and I want to make sure that those kids get all the benefit they can. So over-exaggerate your face if you're wearing a mask. I think that's always very helpful. And make sure you have good eye contact, because then that tells the other person you're communicating with, yeah, she's listening to me. So if you have any questions about brain injury, please call us. We have 3 locations in California and 4 in Texas now. I'm sure I have forgotten many things to tell you, but I hope this has been helpful. And please let us know if you would like some more ideas. I'm sure I could come up with some more. So thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.